Hi, I'm Terry Daniels. I'm the Senior Fitness and Wellness Specialist at Brook Grove Retirement Village in Sandy Spring, Maryland. Today, I'm going to talk about mindful meditation. I'm going to present a seminar first about mindful meditation, what it is, and its benefits, and I'll provide you with some resources at the end for recordings and books and CDs. And then following the seminar, I will lead you through a guided mindful meditation for about 15 or 20 minutes. To begin, I'm going to just ask, what is mindful meditation? One of the most simple yet succinct descriptions of mindful meditation comes from Jon Kabat-Zinn, who was the founder of mindfulness-based stress reduction. He started this in the 70s, and it's now practiced world over. There are clinics the main clinic is up in the Massachusetts Hospital Center, where they've been studying mindful meditation for many, many years. And his definition is, mindful meditation is paying attention on purpose in the present moment and non-judgmentally. So let's break that down a little bit. Paying attention on purpose in the present moment, which means bringing your full attention to this moment, to the present. Because our minds generally want to go to one of two places, either to the past or to the future. It's very challenging, yet doable with practice, to bring our mind's attention to the present. And we'll be talking in a few minutes about how to do this. And the second piece is to do this, bring your attention on purpose to the present moment, non-judgmentally, which means being fully present with what is happening in the moment. We tend to judge our feelings. If we're having a feeling, we say, oh, that's a good feeling, or that's a bad feeling. And particularly if it's a bad feeling, we tend to try to push it away, push it down, get rid of it. The feelings are not right or wrong. There are feelings. And if we can be present with them, allow them to express themselves and then be released without that judgment, it can create the space for this mindful awareness. Another piece of mindful meditation is bringing your focused attention on purpose in the present moment to an anchor. An anchor can be anything, anything. It can be breath, a chant, visualization. It could be art or music. There's walking, mindful meditation. Really is whatever works for you, as long as you're consciously paying attention on purpose to what is happening in the moment. So this program focuses on breath for a number of reasons. It's simple to learn. Doesn't mean it's always easy to practice, but it is simple to learn. We all have breath. It's very portable. We can go anywhere with it. So in any situation we find ourselves in, we can bring our awareness to our breath and bring our awareness back to the present moment. Also, we can use our breath to emphasize acceptance of our thoughts and our feelings without judgment. Coming back to that non-judgment, or another way of putting it, with acceptance, accepting what is happening in the moment. So we're going to talk about the benefits of mindful meditation. Johns Hopkins did a study in 2014 that found that mindful meditation reduces anxiety and depression. They studied 47 research trials on mindful meditation. And that was one of the overwhelming results of all those studies, was that mindful meditation reduces symptoms of anxiety and depression. Johns Hopkins themselves did their own study of over 3,500 people who practice mindful meditation. And they found that mindful meditation reduced many of the same symptoms of anxiety and depression as other studies showed that antidepressants did. So if you think about that, mindful meditation, which is something we can do ourselves, that we can do anywhere, it's free, it does not involve medication, has no side effects. It's pretty powerful stuff and worked as well as antidepressants. Moreover, this same study of over 3,500 people found that 6 months later, after 8 weeks of practicing mindful meditation, these same benefits, the same relief of symptoms from anxiety and depression were found to be there. Another benefit of mindful meditation is that it reduces pain. The National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health, which is a branch of National Institute of Health, found that was studying the impact of mindful meditation on pain relief. And they studied older adults who had chronic back pain. And they found in this study that mindful meditation increased their day-to-day functioning more than the people who were receiving standard treatment, and also reduced their pain more than people in the control group who were receiving standard treatment. And they followed this group for a full year. They checked in at 26 weeks later and 52 weeks later, and they were still experiencing these same benefits. And I can say anecdotally, from giving mindful meditation classes here at Brook Grove in our rehab center for many years, I can say anecdotally that I've had many of our patients report similar benefits in reducing their pain. They've found that practicing bringing their awareness to their breath before, during, or after physical therapy, or just during the day, especially if they're experiencing a period of intense pain, can really have a direct benefit. So it's quite phenomenal. And getting back to that standard pain treatment, that's typically a physical therapy, that's medication. So again, anytime we can get away from medication, it's just that much better. Mindful meditation has also been shown to help people manage their weight. This was kind of a surprising result of a study that Brown University did. This was back in 2015, and they devised a study called the Mindful Attention Awareness Scale. And they found that people who showed low levels of mindfulness from this scale were up to 34% more obese than the people who scored high on this scale. So a third more obese. And some of the items on this scale were in the 15-item scale with statements such as, I find it difficult to focus on what's happening in the present moment. Or I may be experiencing some emotion, but not be aware of it till a later time. So if somebody agreed, like on a scale, say if it's between 0 and 10 and they agreed with a full 10, then that would be a low level of mindful awareness. So what happens, the cause of this greater risk of being overweight is it comes down to mindful eating. And I also give seminars on mindful eating. And what's interesting, a couple things to take note of. One is it takes 20 minutes for our brains to register satiety, meaning it takes 20 minutes for us to know whether or not we're full, which is pretty amazing. So when we sit down and we're not paying attention, we're maybe reading, or we're looking at the computer and we're eating, watching TV, or just not even having any of that going on, but we're up in our head and we're just putting the food in our mouth without being aware of it, then we can become overfull without even knowing it, because we can take in a tremendous amount of food in that first 20 minutes before the brain has sent those signals to say, oh, stop, you're full. So with mindful eating, what you do is, and this can be either for a whole meal, or even if it's just the beginning, few minutes of a meal, and then go from there, it can make a huge difference, even a few minutes. You sit down to your meal, put down the book, turn off the computer, the TV, and bring your full attention to the meal in front of you. And first, just look at your meal and maybe say a little bit, thanks for all the hands that it took to bring this meal to you. And then look at your meal, really take it in. Look at the colors, the shapes, the very sizes, and smell it. Bring in the aromas, really take it in. Use your senses. Then finally pick up your fork, take one bite. Put the fork down. And before you even start to chew, just let that bite sit in your mouth. Notice the feel of it in your mouth. Feel the texture, the taste. Maybe close your eyes. You can really savor that bite. And then slowly begin to chew. And then after you've fully enjoyed that bite, pick up your fork and try it again. And what this does, this mindful eating, bringing our attention fully to the moment on purpose, it slows us down because we're really savoring every bite. And what research has shown, that most of the time we end up not eating what's on our plate. We're full before we're half or 2/3 of the way through, because we just don't eat as much. So with these studies on mindful eating and weight loss and our weight management here, is people weren't even going into mindful eating to lose weight. They were just practicing mindful eating and found that they lost weight. So I recommend trying it, just even if it's just one meal a day for a few minutes. and see if you notice a difference. Another benefit of mindful meditation is that it improves sleep. A study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, Journal of Internal Medicine, showed that people who practice mindful meditation had less insomnia than those in a sleep education group. So a sleep education group is a group of people who come together with the help of a sleep professional in a sleep clinic, and they're taught about the basics of good sleep hygiene, such things as turn your computer, TV, your smartphone off an hour or two before bed, get plenty of exercise, but not too close to bed. Caffeine's okay, but make sure it's during the day and not too close to sleep. A number of educational topics for getting a good night's sleep like that. So the study found that people who practice mindful meditation had less insomnia than those in a sleep study group, sleep education group. And they also found that older adults found that who practice mindful meditation found that mindful meditation relieved moderate sleep disturbances more so than the sleep education group, meaning they woke up less often. They weren't disturbed by things going on, maybe some sounds, or they weren't as light sleepers. Plus, there was a significant reduction in daytime fatigue. And this was in older adults. Pretty profound there. And I have had, through the years that I've taught mindful meditation in my community classes here at Brook Grove, I've had a number of people report that that's one of their favorite benefits, is that they're sleeping much better. And who doesn't want to sleep better? This was an interesting study. Brown University, that there's a woman named Dr. Sarah Lazar who decided to study mindful meditation and its possible effect on our brains. You know, she had no idea whether there was an effect or not, but this was a real breakthrough study that was published in 2010. And what they found was that she designed an MRI study of people who meditated with mindful meditation, and found that mindful meditation actually reduced the size of the amygdala, which is the fight or flight part of the brain. Now, the amygdala are two lobes that are deep inside the medial part of the brain, so deep inside. And they're responsible for most of our fear and anxiety responses, or what's called the fight or flight response. So the fight or flight response goes back, way back to our hunter-gatherer days, where imagine all of a sudden you're being attacked by a tiger. Whoa, you have two choices. You can either stay and fight that tiger, or you turn and you run away as fast as you can. In either case, the amygdala's job, because all of a sudden there's fear, there's anxiety, there's stress, it releases these hormones that give us this burst of energy. You've heard of that adrenaline burst, and that gives us extra strength and energy to be able to stay and fight this tiger or run away for survival, so we can hopefully live through this tiger attack. So our bodies are designed to get rid of that adrenaline, those hormones that are being rushed through our bodies. And in this case, through exercise, through fighting or running away, It's very physical. We're just going to keep fighting that tiger, or we're going to keep running away. So those hormones are finally dissipated. They're not stored in our body. So what happens is, coming back to our modern times, when we have stress, which, by the way, stress is a normal part of life. We can't get away from stress. We're not, stress management, stress relief is not trying to just say, I don't want any stress in my life. Well, of course, nobody wants it, but it's part of life. But it's how we manage it, how we respond to it, and whether or not we have more stress and more of that fight or flight response without releasing it, then is good for us. Because when that happens, we get out of balance. And when we're out of balance, that's when we can start having some very significant health problems. So the opposite of the fight or flight response is called the relaxation response. And that is produced from many, many things. It can be yoga, or listening to relaxing music, or deep breathing, and mindful meditation. Many studies have shown that mindful meditation does produce the relaxation response, which sends out a cascade of hormones in our brains to counteract that fight or flight response. So getting back to this amygdala, which is directly related to fear and anxiety, this MRI scan showed that mindful meditation actually reduces the size of the amygdala. So when we are under stress, our brains can't release as much of that fear hormone. So it can't cause as much problems with our bodies. Pretty significant, important finding there. That same study found that mindful meditation improves memory, cognition, and emotional regulation. So this study showed that the hippocampus increased in size with people who practice mindful meditation. So the hippocampus is a lobe in our brain, in the medial temporal lobe, that is responsible for consolidating short-term memory into long-term, to help us remember something that just happened, put it into long-term storage so we can retrieve it later. Now that short-term memory can increase. That problem, I should say, with short-term memory can develop as we age, and that's directly related to a shrinking of the hippocampus. So we've heard of all kinds of things we can do to improve our memories. We can learn a new language, or do a crossword puzzle, or read books, or go dancing. But the study showed that mindful meditation also increases the size of the hippocampus by as much as 2%, which is significant because this is a little tiny, tiny lobe, and 2% is considered a significant increase in size. The other piece that's important to mention here about what the hippocampus is responsible for is that it helps us to regulate our emotions. So if it's bigger, then it helps us stay on more of an even keel, which that can have a significant response in our everyday life. And finally, this same Harvard study of MRI, the MRIs and the effects of mindful meditation, showed that mindful meditation increases the size of something called the temporoparietal junction in our brains. That's quite a mouthful. It's also known as TPJ. But the parietal lobe, there's one on each side, but it sits up here The temporal lobe is down here, and this is the junction between the two. And that lobe, or that junction on both sides, is responsible for empathy, feeling compassion, and the ability to step back and see the bigger picture, take perspective. The opposite is if you're very stressed and you have that feeling of you're really stressed and you just can't concentrate, that's what's happening. You can't take that perspective. You can't see the big picture and perhaps get an answer to whatever is going on. So that TPJ is responsible for that ability to see the big picture. And it's also known as our moral center of the brain, good and bad, right and wrong, to have a sense of what is right and to feel compassion for ourselves and each other. And so that increases in size with people who practice mindful meditation. And I want to end with that because I think that's just a profound benefit. We're going to move on now to some resources. I'll leave these up on your screen for a moment. We have several free apps. One is called Calm. You can put this on your smartphone or your computer. Now this one does have, you can have it comes free for a certain level, which is very effective, and you can keep it there and use it all the time. And then you'll see if you go there that you can also subscribe for a pretty minimal rate, and there's a lot of detailed meditations you can go to on that. Another one that's completely free is called Insight Timer, and then Stop, Breathe, and Think. Then there are some free downloads that you can put on your smartphone or computer. One is from UCLA, the other is Tara Brach. She is local. She's in Bethesda. She's a psychotherapist who is does a lot of mindful meditation classes and retreats, and has become very well known, and I think you'd really enjoy those downloads. Then there's CDs, one by Jon Kabat-Zinn, Guided Mindfulness Meditation. Another one by Thich Nhat Hanh. Some of you may have heard of him. He passed away recently. He was a Buddhist monk who was world renowned for hosting mindfulness retreats and speaking quite profoundly about mindfulness and compassion. And then finally, another CD for pain relief by Jon Kabat-Zinn again. And lastly, some books on mindfulness. Jon Kabat-Zinn again, Mindfulness for Beginners. It's a very good book if you're just starting out. Then Thich Nhat Hanh again, Happiness, Essential Mindfulness Practice. And then Jack Kornfield, Mindful Meditation for Beginners. So that wraps up the benefits of mindful meditation, what it's all about. And in a moment, we'll begin the guided meditation. Before we do, I just want to talk about the meditation for a moment, because we're going to focus on breath, as I mentioned before. But through the years, I've had so many people ask me about the breath, and is there a certain way to breathe? Is it deep breathing, or do we breathe in through the nose or out through the mouth? And those are all very valid questions, so I want to address them now before we start. With mindful meditation, the focus is just on your breath as it is, without trying to change it. We're not trying to breathe in a special way or deep breathing. It's just truly being in the present moment, noticing your breath, whether it's shallow or deep or fast or slow. There's absolutely no right or wrong. Remember, no judgment, just noticing your breath. And however you breathe is however you breathe. If it's through your nose, your mouth, just notice your breath. So with that, I invite you to get comfortable in your chair. You want to scoot back all the way so you can really relax into your chair. Now, you can either close your eyes or lower your lids to soften your gaze. You can place your hands wherever you're most comfortable, on your lap or by your sides. Just find a position that works best for you. Now bring your awareness to your feet. Imagine you're sending roots down into the earth like the roots of a tree to become grounded. Now bring your full attention to your thighs. Feeling the support of the chair beneath your thighs. And allowing your thighs to relax into that support. Now bring your awareness to your back. Resting your back into the chair, settling in. Now move your attention to your neck and your shoulders. Allowing your neck and shoulders to relax. Feeling your shoulders drop down as they let go. Bring your attention to your face now. Releasing the muscles around your eyes, cheeks, and jaw. Now bring your awareness to your breath without trying to change the rhythm of your breath. Just notice its flow as it moves in and out of your body. Notice each breath. Notice where in your body you feel your breath, whether it's in your nose, in your nostrils as the air moves in and out, or in the rise and fall of your chest, or perhaps in your abdomen as it expands and contracts with each breath. Notice where in your body you feel your breath and rest your awareness there. If your mind's attention is distracted by sound inside or outside of your room, acknowledge the sound and return your attention to your breath. Allow your breath to be your anchor to the present moment, letting go of the past, letting go of the future, being fully present here and now. Notice every in-breath and every out-breath. Every in-breath a new beginning. It's normal and natural for your mind's attention to wander away from your breath. When this happens, gently and kindly return your awareness back to your breath. Be fully present with your breath. Being fully present with your breath as an anchor to this moment. Expand your awareness now to include sound inside and outside of your room. Truly listening with your full attention as you breathe. All that is happening is breath and sound. Being fully present with your breath and sound in this moment. Expand your awareness now to include your body, your whole body now, allowing any sensations that may be present to be present with acceptance and free from judgment. Breathing and sensing and listening in this moment. Being fully present with your breath as your anchor to this moment. Expand your awareness to include sound, your body, and your feelings. Allowing any feelings that may be present to be present with acceptance and free from judgment. Breathing and allowing. you find your mind's attention becomes too focused in any one area, acknowledge that and let it go. And return your awareness just to your breath. Breath and sound and your body and your feelings in this moment. Breathing in, breathing out. Begin now to slowly move your fingers and your toes as we start our transition out of our meditation. Make any larger movements your body may need at this time. Slowly begin to open your eyes, taking in your surroundings once again, noticing how you feel in this moment. I'd like to thank you for coming, sharing this time with me. And I hope to see you again. Take care and be well.